Grace was born in the dusty village of Umofia, a place where the ground cracked from thirst and the children's stomachs sang from hunger. Her father, Samuel, was a palm wine tapper who had lost a leg climbing the wrong tree. Her mother, Esther, hawked vegetables that nobody wanted to buy. Every morning, Grace walked barefoot to fetch water from a dry stream that barely coughed up enough to drink. Her dress was always torn at the hem. Her slippers, made from old tires, flapped as she walked. But her eyes, those deep brown eyes, carried a fire that refused to die. She had dreams, even if they lived only in her head. She wanted to go to school. She wanted to wear a uniform and carry books. But school fees were like gold, and her family could barely afford salt. Sometimes she cried into her mother's lap at night. "Mama, will I live and die in this place?" Esther would stroke her head and whisper, "God sees you, my child. He sees you." But Grace wasn't sure anymore. One day, a man from the city came to the village. He drove a shiny black car and wore sunglasses that hid his eyes. He said his name was Mr. Richard. He was not Grace's real uncle, but in the village, every older man who smiled became Uncle. Mr. Richard said he helped young girls get jobs in the city. Restaurants, hotels, boutique shops, he said, showing pictures of young girls wearing fine clothes and makeup. When he saw Grace, he smiled. "This one is a star. Her beauty will take her far." Samuel hesitated, but the money Mr. Richard offered for transport and preparation was more than he had seen in 2 years. "Mama?" Grace asked with trembling lips. Esther was silent, and so they gave their daughter to a stranger. Lagos was loud, Lagos was fast, and Lagos was cruel. The hotel was not a hotel, it was a brothel. Grace cried the first night as 2 women painted her face and forced her into clothes that made her body feel like a sin. They called it the job. "No, I came here to work in a restaurant," she screamed, but her screams only brought laughter. "You think you came to fry eggs? You're here to fry yourself," one of them said coldly. Mr. Richard was gone. His number did not go through. Grace's first customer was a man older than her father. He smelled of sweat and cheap perfume. She bled that night, and when she cried after, no one gave her water. They only gave her tissue. Days turned to weeks. Weeks turned to months. Grace forgot what her voice sounded like. Her heart grew cold. She learned how to fake smiles. She learned how to shake her waist even when her soul was shaking. One day she met Daniel. He was a cleaner in the same building, a boy with quiet eyes and gentle hands. He brought her food when no one was looking. He gave her paracetamol when she was sick. He didn't ask for her body, he asked for her name. "Why do you help me?" she asked once. "Because no one helped my sister," he said, and looked away. They became close. They shared rice under staircases and stories behind broken walls. Grace found herself laughing again, only with Daniel. Daniel wanted to help her leave. "There's a church program outside Lagos. They help girls like you. They won't judge you," he said. Grace hesitated. "What if they send me back to Mr. Richard?" "They won't," Daniel said. "I'll go with you." They planned for weeks. One night, Grace wrapped her small clothes into a nylon bag. She left a note for one of the other girls. "If I make it out, I'll come back for you." Daniel was waiting with a bike. They ran. The church was real. It was not fancy, but it was warm. The women there gave her clothes that covered her shame and words that cleaned her spirit. She cried every day, not for what happened, but for the girl she used to be. Daniel visited often. He helped paint walls and repair doors. One day, as they sat under a mango tree, he took her hand. "You are not dirty," he whispered. Grace broke down. "I don't deserve love." "You deserve life," he replied. That day, she believed him. Grace stayed at the shelter for 1 year. She went for therapy. She learned tailoring. She even finished her WAEC with support from the church. One day, she got a small job sewing clothes, then a bigger one. Then she opened a small shop. People started calling her Madam Taylor, but she never forgot the others. She went back for the girl she left the note for. Her name was Hope, and she was sick. HIV had eaten deep. Hope died 2 weeks later. Grace wept for days. She used her small profits to start a small foundation. She called it Clay Girls, because they were once broken, but could be shaped again. One rainy morning, she got a call. Her mother had died. She rushed back to Umofia. The village hadn't changed. Children still ran barefoot. Men still sat under trees drinking palm wine. But when Grace walked in, wearing a simple blue dress, people whispered, "That's her. That's the city girl. That's the one who made it." She found her father sitting on the same wooden chair, now older, now slower. He looked at her with tears. "I failed you." "No, Papa," she said, kneeling before him. "You gave me life." They wept together. Daniel came too. He brought fresh tomatoes from Lagos and her favorite chin-chin. He stood beside her at Esther's grave and held her hand. "Will you let me walk this road with you, Grace?" She looked into his eyes, the only place that had ever felt safe. "Yes," she said. Now Grace tells her story in schools, churches, anywhere they will listen. She doesn't hide her past. She wears it like a badge. Poverty is a thief, she says, but silence is its partner. Speak up, fight, even if your voice shakes. And when people ask if she's ashamed of what she went through, she replies, "No, I walked through fire, and I came out gold."